Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush, your own personal sales maven, here to offer you tips and strategies and techniques to master your sales conversation. Today's episode is a solo episode. It's just you and me. We're going to be talking about the difference between soliciting and relationship selling. And I think it's an important topic because there seems to be some confusion about, are you soliciting and is that a best approach for sales? Or are you actually building relationships, attracting prospective clients, and making it easy for them to buy from you? So I think once you understand the difference and which one is more effective for you, then you're able to spend less time prospecting and more time working with your ideal clients, which I'm assuming is why you started your business in the first place, right? So I want to just kind of break this down from my perspective. Soliciting, in my opinion, is taking liberties that the other person never agreed to. So that is showing up in their inbox randomly, showing up in their DMs randomly, showing up at their homes and their offices randomly. That's soliciting. They haven't showed any interest. They haven't expressed interest. And you're just showing up, essentially word vomiting on them and trying to convince them to buy from you. Relationship selling is gaining permission each step of the way to the place where you actually earn their business. You exchange dollars for services or money for services. Okay. So I wanted to talk about this because, again, I feel like it keeps coming up, and maybe it's because I'm constantly having people soliciting and I'm just so sick of it. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen those signs. Sometimes people put them, on their front doors, or they put them somewhere when somebody's walking up to the door. You see this sign that says, no soliciting. And sometimes the sign is like, it's small, it's not meant to be like aggressive, but other times there's signs that are super aggressive, like no soliciting of any kind. I don't want you to, no salespeople, no church organizations, no, people selling, candy, no, it's like, it like goes through all the different potential types of soliciting that people could be doing at your doors, in your homes. And most of the time, I think people respect it and they don't knock, because there's nothing worse than you're just sitting down to a meal and now somebody's knocking on your front door. You go to open it and they immediately launch into their sales pitch, right? And so we put these signs up, although I don't have one on my house, although I'd like to, but my husband's a little anti them. So I've respected his wishes on that for years, even though I would like to have one too, because I'm so sick of people knocking on my door. And frankly, as a business owner, I am so sick of being solicited in my business. Now, one of the great things is now I can block people's emails, and that is somewhat helpful because people who are just showing up in my inbox and word vomiting their crap onto me, I now just block them. I never gave you permission to email me, especially when they add me to their email list without my permission. So I don't even go through the steps anymore of unsubscribing when people have added me to their email list without my permission. Because as far as I'm concerned, be my guest and pay to have my email on your list, but it's not going to get through to me because it's blocked. So I take a pretty hard stance on this. So again, the reason I'm bringing this up is because to me, soliciting is such a time waster. It's a time suck. And it's one of those things, like it kind of sucks the life out of you if that's how you're choosing to sell. But there is a much better way to do this. This is what I teach. This is what I do. And I just find that it feels better to me as the seller to not just be spending every day prospecting in this. And I'm not opposed to prospecting by any stretch of the imagination, but just doing this like nobody has expressed any interest. And I'm just showing up in their inbox, or I'm just showing up in their DMs, or however I can get in front of them without having gained some permission. Nobody gets added to my email list unless they have opted in themselves. Like we don't add anybody to the list without them having opted in some way. So anytime I am sending emails to somebody, they have given me permission in some way. And I always give them the opportunity to opt out of the emails. You can unsubscribe to my list if you don't want to receive emails from me. So if you're sending emails to people who aren't expressing interest, or you're showing up in people's DMs and you're not even asking permission before you're putting offers in front of them, you are soliciting. And chances are you're turning people away from ever doing business with you. Whereas if you took a step back and said, okay, I'm going to show up from this place of, am I gaining permission every step of the process from this person before I put an offer in front of them? There's nothing wrong with sending a nice, kind message to somebody in their DM and then asking them if they'd be open to looking at something that might benefit them, or would they be open to you sending something that they could look at? There's nothing wrong with that, but just sending it without the permission, you are in a place of soliciting. And my guess is that you're just not getting the kind of results that you would get if you were taking this different approach, this relationship selling approach to the person who would actually benefit from working with you. And they'll never know that if you're not gaining permission each step of the way. So this is why I teach the selling staircase. This is why there's 5 steps to it. Every step you don't get to skip as the seller. You have to follow the process, the structure of it, in order to earn somebody's business. And if you're just skipping steps, you often are moving into this place of soliciting versus selling. So I just wanted to bring this into the room between us and to challenge yourself a little bit and really ask, like, am I soliciting or am I building relationship? Now, relationship selling, when I talk about gaining permission, it starts with attracting ideal clients. Now, I have an episode coming up in the podcast next week where I'm talking to an expert on this, and we're talking about how to reach your ideal client. So, there's some tips coming for you around this. And I want you to be thinking about, the idea is to make yourself so attractive that you are attracting people to you. You're putting out content that resonates with people. You are showing up from a place of creating curiosity. This is the second step in the selling staircase. It's also the most missed step in the selling staircase. And yet, if you're not able to create curiosity about who you are and what you do, and you're going into sales mode having not created any curiosity, you are soliciting. You are not thinking about relationship selling. Are you ready to uplevel your sales game? Well, here is a gift for you. It is the Mastering the Sales Conversation mini training. This training gives you my proven step-by-step approach to sales so that you can go from that overwhelmed and intimidated approach that you have to sales to feeling confident and leading a conversation so that you easily guide somebody to hiring you. You can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/mastering. This is my gift to you. Go grab it now. And yet, it's actually a much easier sell when you've got that relationship in place. It's easier to put an offer in front of somebody. It's easier to tailor your offer to something that is the best fit for them. And they'll feel good about giving you money and working with you because they're making an investment in themselves, right? So anyway, just thought we would talk about today this idea of soliciting versus relationship selling and really challenge yourself. Are there places where you are maybe even unintentionally moving into a place of solicitation, which also kind of has a negative, there's kind of a negative connotation. Like one definition of this is like essentially prostituting yourself, right? And you don't want that to be who you are in business. Like that's not how you want to show up. You want to show up. There should always be a balance in the relationship dynamic between you and a prospective client and you and an actual client. So they shouldn't hold all the power in a relationship. You shouldn't hold all the power in the relationship. So relationship selling really is about this collaborative approach. And you can't collaborate with somebody when they haven't agreed to the collaboration. So making sure you're getting agreement. So just wanted to remind a couple things here. No adding people to your email list just because you met them at an event and their email showed up on your, in an email to you. Just because somebody's emailed you doesn't mean they've agreed to be on your email list. So be careful about doing that. Just because somebody has accepted your LinkedIn request doesn't mean that you should immediately respond back with a sales pitch, right? Just because somebody followed you on social media doesn't imply that you then can put an offer in front of them without having asked any permission. So my NLP teacher used to always talk about when we would partner up. So in the NLP training, we were always working on these different processes, what I'm trying to say. And we would always have to have almost always a partner, right? And there was always a guide, and then there was what was called the explorer. And so then we would, one point I would be the guide and guide somebody through a process. And then we would switch places, and then the other person would then guide me and I would be the explorer. And so one of the things that would always happen is she would say, now, pick a new partner, pick somebody you haven't worked with in a while, or, in the class, like, you didn't want to just always go back to the same person. But she would laugh or in kind of in a fun way, always say like, there's two types of people. There's the people who are like, I know exactly who I want my partner to be. And they make a beeline for that person and be like, let's be partners, right? And she'd say, or there's the people who kind of sit back and make themselves, attractive so that partners want to come and seek them out. And I think about this in my own approach to sales. Oftentimes, and in life, I tend to be the person who will sit back and like scope out and see like who's making that beeline for me. Who do I want to attract to be my partner versus being the aggressor? That doesn't come natural to me. I certainly can be aggressive, but it doesn't come natural to me. I'm not the person who walks across the room and is like, hey, let's be partners. I would rather sit and have somebody come to me and say, would you like to be partners? And then I can make that decision. So in sales, a lot of times when I think about this idea of growing my business is I want to be putting out content that is so attractive to my ideal clients that they go, oh, I'm going to show up and work with Nikki. As a matter of fact, I just got off of a call with a consultation call with a prospective new client who signed up on the call to work with me. And it's somebody that I met, I think back in 2017 or 2018. We met at a conference and we've followed each other on social media. We had a really great interaction at the conference. And she definitely left an impression on me. And apparently I left one on her, both hopefully positive, because now she's ready to work with me. And she was talking about that she's been on my email list now for a couple of years, and she's paying attention to what I'm doing. And I've been, kind of following what she's doing as well on social media. I'm not a great social media person, but, I do see her show up. And when I say I'm not a great social media person, I mean, I don't spend a lot of time on social media, except for in the Sales Maven Society, where most of my social media time is dedicated to the Sales Maven Society. So I'm in there answering questions throughout the day, but don't spend a lot of time scrolling. So with that in mind, it's this idea of I'm still out there. When she's ready, here I am. And she feels comfortable reaching out and saying, okay, I'm ready, Nikki. Let's just talk about what are the ways to work together. And now I get to work with her, which is awesome. I can guarantee you that if I had been the aggressor to her back when we first met or any time in between, she wasn't ready to work with me. So I'm going to still put content out there. I'm going to still make myself accessible to her. So when she's ready, here I am. And I just wonder if sometimes it might sound super passive, but I'm not lacking in clients. People are showing up. And so I like this idea. I mean, I've built my whole business around relationship selling versus soliciting. Take what you will from this, check in with yourself and ask, are you showing up as a solicitor or are you showing up having gained permission before you go into sales mode? Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I wish you continued success in all you're doing. And if you need a little support in learning how to deepen your relationship selling skills, you're invited to have a call with me. Let's talk about it. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it.